Hello everyone, back tuning in to today's first video doing JMA Friday. As always on a Friday, we're having a look at the weather next month. This takes us into the second half of January. So we're going to have a look at the Japanese model first of all. Then we'll have a look at CFS V2. We'll compare the two and see what they're showing into the start of 2018. Later on today, we're going to have the 25th and final Christmas update. We've reached the end of the journey, and we'll do the final Christmas update for you tonight around 7 o'clock, covering the full Christmas and New Year period for the final time. Well, say for the final time, we've actually got weekend forecasts to come as well, and this weekend only, the weekend forecast will be on Sunday rather than Saturday, so it'll be on Christmas Eve rather than on Saturday, covering again the full Christmas and New Year period in depth. And talking of Christmas, just say, I don't think I mentioned it in the videos before, the Christmas Day historic video. I always do a historic video on Christmas Day. So this year's Christmas Day historic video, going to have a look at the winter of 2008-2009. The first cold winter of the series of cold winters that we had between 2009 and 2012-2013. So that'll be the Christmas Day historic video this year, and I'm going to try and get that recorded tonight. So going to be quite a bit going on over the next few days, and that means that we've got a free Saturday actually tomorrow. So tomorrow's video will probably have a look at the week to 10-day forecast and do something like that. So quite a bit going on over the next few days. Do keep checking back for more, but got JMA Friday to get through now. So we're going to begin by having a look at the Japanese model from the North Pole view down. So this is the chart from the JMA for the next week. These are broken down into week periods, taking us from today, 22nd through 29th of December. We're looking at the pole view down into the Northern Hemisphere. So this is the North Pole of the Northern Hemisphere just here, and then we've got the mid-latitudes of the Northern Hemisphere around there. The British Isles is just there. So 500 millibars is an area in the atmosphere. High pressure, low pressure are being moved around by the jet stream, and that essentially is what weather is, the movement of air masses by the jet stream. Blue extrapolates to low pressure, and yellow, orange and red extrapolating to high pressure. So this is the anomaly for the coming week, the 22nd, 29th of December. We find we've got below average heights over and to the north of the country. Above average heights are down to the south through there, and notice quite a deep trough of low pressure in across the northern east parts of America. We do have some northern blocking. It's up over the pole, although it's actually delivering the cold air down into America as opposed to pushing it down into Europe. And we've actually got quite a strong and flat jet stream coming across the Atlantic like that. So essentially it's a mild situation for the week ahead, and potentially a little bit on the stormier side, especially as we get later on. It's Atlantic driven, so it's not particularly cold. The cold is going down into America rather than into Europe in the week ahead. This is how week 2 looks. This is the 29th of December through to the 5th of January, and very little difference really. We still have lots and lots of blocking. We've got all this red, orange and yellow up here over the pole, but again it's not in a position to be delivering anything particularly cold for us. The cold again is going down into central northern east parts of America with that deep trough just there, and then coming through the Atlantic and into Europe we've got a very strong jet stream, primarily caused by all this cold air that's plunging down into Northern America. So we're again on the mild side of the jet. We've got an Atlantic driven setup going on here with high pressure to our south, low pressure over and to the North British Isles. I suppose there is a slight difference in that the jet stream is a little bit further south, so we're almost going on to the cold side of the jet, particularly for northern parts of the country. We could be pushing down somewhat colder air into the north, but essentially it's not a cold scenario. It's not a cold setup. The main cold from the pole is being pushed out into Canada and North America with that one. And then we go through to weeks 3 and 4. This takes us from the 5th through to the 19th of the month. So this one is seen below 19th of January, I should say. So this one is seen below average heights to the north and to the west of the country, above average heights over the pole again. A little bit of a change for America. We've started to push this area of above average heights back towards the east coast of America and beginning to lift the trough out up towards Canada as well. So things are becoming less cold for America. We're losing that very cold blocking feature to the north of America quite a bit, and we're lifting the cold trough up towards Canada, so that's a bit of a change. For us, we're essentially still in a mild Atlantic driven situation, but I think because it's a two-weekly anomaly, week 3 and week 4 anomaly, we've got to watch out that this trough is weakening in the Atlantic, and this area of above average heights to our northeast, that might be starting to try and get the wind in towards the east. So it's a bit inconclusive, perhaps a bit of a battle going on there from the 5th through to the 19th of January. But over time, there may be hints that it's trying at least to get a little bit colder, especially with the cold pattern that's in over America beginning to relax slightly. I think we need to come back and look at that next week to see exactly where that goes as we get into January. It's a little bit inconclusive, I think, from the 5th through to the 19th. What we can say is that the coming week is going to be Atlantic driven. So this is coming back to week 1, which is 22nd, 29th of December. This is the mid-latitude and tropical view. The British Isles in the top right-hand corner of the chart as you're looking at it. It's an Atlantic-driven week coming up. So we've got above average heights through the Atlantic just there. And then we've got these below average heights up to the north, and we're bringing jet stream through like that. So it means that the rainfall anomaly, precipitation anomaly over Christmas is coming out above average. It's a wetter than average week from the 22nd, 29th of December, and substantially milder than average as well. May go a little bit colder as we get beyond Christmas, but for the anomaly for the week ahead, it's coming out significantly milder than average. Notice most parts of America and Canada are quite substantially colder than average. Week, so let's go through to week 2, which looks like that. And again, the below average heights are over and to the north British Isles, above average heights to our south. Perhaps we're bringing the jet stream a bit further southwards with that, so you expect it to be a little bit colder, cooler. And we do see evidence of that on the temperature anomaly, because northern parts of the country are closer to average. In the south, we're still coming out milder than average from the 29th of December to the 5th of January. But the anomaly isn't as big, you see what I mean, in week 1. So it is slightly cooler, albeit still generally towards the milder side of average, and still Atlantic driven. Notice again, very cold over in much of Canada and America as well. And then we go through to weeks 3 and 4, which I thought were a little bit more inconclusive. So we do have that area of below average heights to our northwest. You can't see the northern view, so sort of the view from the pole, but we know we've got some ridging going on up here to the north of Scandinavia and also into the Arctic. So we've got the westerly winds trying to feed in from that trough, but we have got the chance anyway of trying to get winds more in towards the east. The cold pattern across America is relaxing as well as the trough is being pushed back up towards northern and western parts of Canada, and heights are beginning to rise through particularly eastern parts of the state. So you would expect temperatures to be recovering a bit in America. That's what the model is showing for weeks 3 and 4. The 5th to the 19th of January. Still a bit colder than average, but nowhere near the extent and severity of cold for northern and eastern America and Canada either. So that cold pattern is beginning to relax. Over for the UK, we are still a little bit milder than average, but it is going a bit colder. We can see that in the Atlantic, where we have actually got some colder than average temperature anomalies there. Across east parts of Europe, central east parts of Europe, it's still milder than average there. That is a 2-weekly anomaly, keep in mind. So it could be something like it's still fairly mild through week 3, but by week 4, which would be the sort of the middle of January, then perhaps we could be thinking about something colder coming along. I think we need to look at this next week and see how we should have a clear idea about how things are progressing through January, I think, with next week's JMA Friday. CFS V2 next. So these are the 500 millibar heights broken down into weekly periods. The first week period taking us from the 22nd to the 28th of December. Lots of ridging, so above average heights over and to the south of the UK in the week ahead. It means that the jet stream is to our north, so going to be quite a mild week coming up over Christmas, and fair amount of dry weather, although it does go more unsettled over Christmas itself. We see that better for week 2, which is the 29th of December to the 4th of January, when we've got a deep area of below average heights over and to the west of the UK. That ridge is being pushed down to the southwest, and we're bringing quite a strong flow off the Atlantic as well. So that looks very unsettled later in the Christmas period and into the new year as well. Then we go through to week 3, which is the 5th to the 11th of January. This one also looking unsettled with lots of low pressure close to the British Isles, jet stream coming through like that. So really unsettled conditions, quite wet, and not overly mild, I wouldn't have thought. The air is coming out of Greenland into this trough, so could be chilly at times, but not all that cold. And then we go through to week 4, which takes us from the 12th to the 18th of January. And this isn't interested in doing anything cold. This one has a ridge to the south and the east of the country with below average heights out to the west. And that would be dragging up some very mild air from the south or from the southwest as well. So certainly up to the middle of January, the CFS is not interested in anything particularly cold happening at all. So the temperature anomaly for the week ahead, that is coming out very substantially mild on average from the 22nd to 28th of December. Notice not as cold across particularly northern east parts of America either. However, by the time we get through to week 2, most of America really has been plunged into the freezer, particularly those populated areas with the anomaly going under 3 degrees below average. The UK still looking substantially milder than average through that sort of week 2 period, the 29th and 4th of January. Most parts of Eurasia also substantially, very substantially warmer than average as well. Then we go through to week 3, which is the 5th through to the 11th of January. Again, much milder than average for the UK. Very substantially mild on average through most parts of Eurasia. Also, the cold is beginning to ease a little bit across northern parts of America and Canada. And then we go through to week 4, which is the 12th to the 18th of January. As I said, the CFS not interested in anything cold, so up to the middle of January, looking very mild for the UK, really significantly mild on average through most parts of Eurasia, and beginning to go a bit milder than average across parts of America as well. Still a bit colder than average up over Canada, but you have to say that's a very, very warm looking northern hemisphere by the time we get through to the middle part of January, with hardly any cold anywhere in the northern hemisphere. I must say that looks a bit extreme and a bit over the top, but that's what CFS is showing today, a really warm northern hemisphere compared to average anyway, by the time we get through into January. Precipitation anomalies finally, so week ahead is coming out wetter than average with CFS V2, so it's going to be quite a wet Christmas, and that continues into week 2 as well. Up to New Year, it's wetter than average also. Then we go through to week 3, which is the 5th to the 11th of January. That also comes out wetter than average. And week 4 rounds it all off, the 12th to the 18th of January. That also is coming out wetter than average for the UK, albeit the signal is weakening a little bit as we go along. It's going a bit closer towards average, but overall it's an unsettled and very mild scenario from CFS V2. So we've got agreement really up to New Year anyway, which is for the weather to be generally quite mild and unsettled. A lot of heavy rain coming through, temperatures above average. After New Year into sort of the early and then the middle part of January, it's a little bit more inconclusive, I think. The CFS V2 is not interested in anything cold whatsoever up to January. I think within the JMA there is a little bit more to go on if you would like something colder after the holidays. It may be, but as we get to the middle of January, if the JMA is right, we might have a chance anyway of bringing something colder in. But overall, both of these models suggest, certainly to the beginning of the new year anyway, beginning of 2018, it's likely to be quite wet and mild. And after that, I think we'll know more next week actually where this is going to go into the middle of January. So it's all a little bit disappointing. If you want cold weather, that's what the models are showing today. Remember, it's just a snapshot of what the JMA CFS is showing today. It could all look very, very different next week, so don't be too downhearted if you want something colder. And that's all for now. We'll come back later on for the 25th and final Christmas updates covering the full Christmas and New Year period. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.